कारेषु सर्वदा वाणी गुणानुकथने श्रवणो कथाया हस्तो च कर्मसु मनस्तव पादयोर्न स्मृत्यां शिरसस्तव निवास जगत् प्रणामे दृष्टिः सतां दर्शने स्तु भवत्तनूना नौमीड्यते भवपुषे तडिदम्बराय गुञ्जावतं सपरिपीच्छलसन्मुखाय वन्यस्त्रजे कवलवेत्रविषाणवेणो लक्ष्मश्रिये मृदुपदे पशुपाङ्गजाय बर्हापीडं नटवरवपुः कर्णयो कर्णिकारं विव्रद्वासकनककपिशं वैजयन्तीं च मालाम् रन्ध्रान् वेणुरधरसुदया पूरयन् गोपवृन्दे वृन्दारण्यं स्वपदरमणं प्रविशद् गीतकीर्तये वंशी विभूषितकरान् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि त्वमहं न जाने नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीतासमारोपितवामभागं पाणो महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम्। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरे झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे, आएंगे राम आएंगे, राम आएंगे, आएंगे राम आएंगे, मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे तो अंगना सजाऊंगी, राम आएंगे तो अंगना सजाएंगे, राम आएंगे अंगना सजाऊंगी। दिया जला के दिवाली मैं मनाऊंगी। दिया जला के दिवाली मैं मनाऊंगी। मेरे जन्मों के पाप सब हट जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरे जन्मों के पाप सब कट जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे, आएंगे, 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 राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरे झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम झूलेंगे तो झूला मैं झूलाऊंगी। राम झूलेंगे तो झूला मैं झूलाऊंगी। मीठे मीठे गीत गा के मैं सुलाऊंगी। मीठे मीठे गीत गा के मैं सुलाऊंगी। मेरे जिंदगी के सारे दुख मिट जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरे जिंदगी के सारे दुख मिट जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे, आएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे, आएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे, आएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मैं तो रुचि रुचि भोग लगाऊंगी। मैं तो रुचि रुचि भोग लगाऊंगी। मैं तो रुचि रुचि भोग लगाऊंगी। मीठे मीठे बेर लाके मैं खिलाऊंगी। मीठे मीठे बेर लाके मैं खिलाऊंगी। मीठे मीठे बेर प्रभु को खिलाऊंगी। मीठे मीठे बेर प्रभु को खिलाऊंगी। गुरु तेरे पास भाग मेरे खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। गुरु के पास भाग मेरे खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे, आएंगे, 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 राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे, खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे।
झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे।
मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे।
झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे।
मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम,
मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम।
मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम। मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम, मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम। मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम, मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम। मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम, मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम। सिया राम मैं सब जग जाने, सिया राम मैं, सिया राम मैं सब जग जाने, सिया राम मैं करहूँ प्रणाम जोर जुग पाने, करहूँ प्रणाम, करहूँ प्रणाम जोर जुग पाने। सीताराम 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 सीताराम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम। मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम, मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम। मंगल भवन अमंगल हारे, मंगल भवन अमंगल हारे, द्रवंश दशरथ अजर बिहारे, द्रवंश दशरथ अजर बिहारे। सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम, सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम। सीताराम
मधुर मधुर नाम
सीताराम सीताराम मधुर मधुर नाम सीताराम सीताराम
Welcome to Satsang. Such a beautiful opportunity always to come together and dive together into the truth. And it's amazing because no matter how many years we do this, it always stays and feels so new, so fresh, like a brand new experience every evening. And amazingly, this is true even during this time of the pandemic without the actual physical audience here that we usually have, our satsang, not audience, but sangha, the community, the group, the people, in whose association together we dive into the truth. Then, of course, it's different all the time because it's a different group every night in this beautiful garden. But as we're now entering into, what is it, 8th month, 9th month, since this pandemic, since the lockdown, since not having any actual gatherings. It's amazing because it still feels so new each night. Looking into this camera, but feeling you all. Looking into the camera, but seeing you. And knowing that we're all together. So I feel very, very grateful to have you all to dive into this sacred truth with all the time, but especially during these days of such challenge when it's so important for all of us constantly to be asking ourselves, what is truth? What is story? What is drama? What is a common narrative? And what is really truth? So, thank you for being our community in truth.
You've talked about the ego masquerading as the voice of God. If it's so cunning, how is it possible to distinguish which voice is real?
Yes, the quandary of the inner voice. You know, we speak so frequently about listen to your inner voice, go within. The dilemma is that that makes it sound like the only inner voice is the voice of God, the divine voice, when actually pretty much all of the voices that really wreak havoc on our lives come from within. Sure, you may also have a really annoying, really loud, incessantly talking family member or colleague or neighbor. But most of the stuff, the vast majority of the stuff that really steals our peace is actually the voices in our own heads. And so interestingly and paradoxically, they're all inner voices. But they're not all the voice of God. Very few of them are. Most of them are the ego, the fear, desires, patterns, habits. So how do we know when it's the voice of God? And the only way to know is to get so familiar with that voice of God that immediately you can pick it out of the crowd. And that's why the practice, the meditation practice, is so important. Too many of us decide to start meditating in a time of crisis. And the problem with that is that at that time, there's so many voices inside that if you don't know, you don't recognize that divine voice, it's going to seem like chaos inside. So this is where it's so important prior to the chaos to develop a relationship with that inner voice through your meditation. Imagine a set of mothers come to the nursery to pick up their babies, right? Now they're waiting outside, let's say. I'm just painting a scene for you. Inside a nursery, kids are being looked after, taken care of. Mothers are standing outside waiting to pick them up. Suddenly from inside the nursery, one of the babies starts crying. Now, to an onlooker, they all sound the same. It's a baby crying. But the mother of that child knows that's my kid. And immediately one mother runs inside to get her baby. Not all 10, not all 20, not nobody. One mother. The mother whose child it is. How does she know? And how do the other mothers know it's not theirs? One baby crying sounds very much like every baby crying. Unless it's your baby. At which point you know. They have spent so much energy, deep energy, connecting with that being, the sound of the voice, the sound of the cries, that they know immediately. They recognize the voice immediately. That's what we need to do with that voice of the divine. Get familiar with it. As you meditate, you hear that voice, you know that voice, so that later in a time of crisis or a time of the ego really having a go at it, you're able immediately to distinguish, that's the divine voice, versus that isn't. Because you know that divine voice. You're so connected to it. It's so familiar to you. Otherwise, teasing apart this voice of the ego, this voice of fear, this voice of desires, this voice that was my 5th grade teacher or my uncle or my aunt or my mother or father who told me I was stupid and worthless, that I've internalized as my own voice. Otherwise, those voices just drown out that divine voice. So, develop the relationship. Get to know it. Get familiar with it. Make a friendship, a relationship with it. So that you can always pick it out of the crowd. And then you don't get deceived by the ego masquerading as that divine voice. Because you'll know.
How do you find the courage to begin something?
Well, you find the courage to begin by realizing that you don't have a choice. We're always beginning something. It's a total fallacy to think that just because I don't engage in or start this particular idea, plan, adventure, project, that I'm somehow safe, right? I mean, we don't start those things because we lack courage, as the question said. How do we have the courage? But the fallacy is, the illusion is, that somehow if I don't start those things, I'm safe. That starting those things requires courage. New project, new relationship, new phase of life, new adventure, whatever it may be. For some people, a new restaurant takes courage. A new brand of toothpaste takes courage, right? I mean, there are people who are really, really creatures of habit. Everything takes courage. But the illusion that we're under is that if I don't do that, then I'm safe. That those things are risky, not doing them is safe. And the dilemma with that is it's not true. Not beginning just means I'm stagnating. Life moves forward. Moves only forward. There's a beautiful line in a poem by Khalil Gibran, who's one of my favorite poets, and it says something like, and forgive me for paraphrasing, but it says something like, life moves always forward and tarries not with yesterday. Always moving forward. You cannot go back to yesterday even if you wanted to. You cannot go back to last year even if you wanted to. Why one might want to is a totally different issue. But even if you wanted to, you can't. Ask anyone who's tragically lost a loved one or lost their own health. People would give anything to go back. Just one more day with that person. Just one more day of health. But you can't. So we actually are being propelled into newness whether we like it or not. The only question is, are we going to embrace it with presence and awareness, or are we not? And that's the courage. So don't think of it as courage in terms of the same type that it would require to, go hang gliding or something. So you have two choices. You can either go hang gliding or not go hang gliding. But you don't have two choices about moving forward in life or not moving forward. Life is propelling us forward. It's just up to us of what that forward wants to be like. Do you want it to be stagnation? Do you want it to be just festering like an old wound? Do you want it to be stale? Do you want to be dead while there's still life in your body? Or do you want to embrace the truth? And that truth is that we're being propelled into newness, being propelled into tomorrow. That's what's happening. Every time the sun rises and sets, the moon rises and sets, it is a new day. Whether you get out of bed or not, it is a new day. Whether you take a new step or not, it is a new day. You don't get to stick all of the days that you didn't get out of bed somewhere into a bank account and call upon them later when you're ready. The days go by. Every day is new. But it's up to us of whether we are going to step into it. So the courage that's required is the courage to recognize I don't actually have a choice about newness today. I only have a choice of whether I am going to choose to be stuck. I'm going to choose to be stagnant. I'm going to choose to try to hold on to yesterday, even though I can't. To hold on to how things were, even though they are not like that now. We have to move forward. And so when you speak and ask about beginning something new, as I said, every day is new. Every time you eat breakfast, it's new. Everything is new every day. Because we are new every day. The body is slightly different every day. Our minds are different. They seem very similar to us because we live with it. You don't notice the change. But we are given this beautiful, beautiful opportunity to move into not just a newness of biology, not just a newness of the body that's decaying and sloughing off cells and getting new cells, not just the newness of constantly changing chemistry and electricity in the brain, but actually conscious newness. That's really the key. Everything is new. The choice is whether you want unconscious newness or conscious newness. Conscious newness is that type that takes courage, because it's the courage to embrace and recognize the truth. That I, and only I, am responsible for my life. And so ask yourself, when you're struggling with having the courage of something new, ask yourself, is not doing it, is knowing that I'm going to spend my whole life not doing it, is that worth the risk? Is that worth whatever risk I think there is in doing it? Because in not doing it, you're not being true to life, to the forward movement of life. And that doesn't mean be reckless and stupid, of course. Doesn't mean leave your common sense at the door. But it means be connected. Be connected to the flow of the universe, which is always changing, always opening, always new. And if you can connect to that, then the courage comes automatically.
I was feeling good about a decision I had made that felt right, so I shared it with a friend who I thought would understand, but they didn't seem to. Now I feel disheartened. What do I do?
So many of us, all of us probably, crave that sense of being understood. Sense of being understood by friends, by family members, especially when we really open up and we really share something very deep and very meaningful. There's an opportunity in those moments for very deep connection and very beautiful experience when you have that connection. And so to reach out for a connection and kind of hit a wall where the person you're reaching out to, from whom you expect that they will reach out and grab your hand there halfway, that they will understand, that they will go to that place with you, that they will connect in that space. When they don't, it's very difficult. It can feel like a betrayal by the friend, a betrayal by the universe. It can feel humiliating. You've opened yourself up, you've shared something, you've been vulnerable, and you weren't understood. And you weren't even understood by someone who you thought was a close friend. Which of course makes so many of us question, am I crazy? Is there really even any validity in what I've said and shared? And in a situation like this, in many situations, there's a two-part solution. There's an inner part and there's an outer part. The inner part is the acceptance. The inner part is simply about how can I accept, not love, not enjoy, not hope it happens again tomorrow, but simply accept this lack of connection, this lack of understanding. Can I sit in that void, in that space in which I feel that I have reached out and no one has grabbed my hand? Can I sit in that void comfortably? Again, doesn't mean you have to love it. Doesn't mean you have to choose it. Doesn't mean you hope it happens again tomorrow. But it means that the presence of that void is an opportunity, not a problem. Because the truth on a very deep spiritual level is, it is in that void that we really have the opportunity to experience the truth of ourselves. And while connection with others is beautiful, meaningful, and deeply important to our lives, every once in a while, it's really important and beneficial to sit in that void, to recognize that I may not have a connection out there. And here I am, because I have a connection inside. I'm not lonely. I may be alone, but I'm not lonely. And I'm not even alone on the deepest sense. I may just be alone in this level of connection. But I have a deeper connection. I have a connection with myself. I have a connection with the divine. I have a connection with the universe. I have a connection with creation. So the inner solution here is allow yourself to sit in that void. Don't allow the voices of judgment, either against the friend or against you. Don't allow those voices to steal that opportunity from you. Don't turn it into a drama of how you were misunderstood. Take it as an opportunity to really experience the void within, to experience the fullness in emptiness, the active fullness in silence. And I know that sounds like a paradox, but I meant to say it like that. Because the real deep silence is very full. The real emptiness is full of presence. But it's just not full of what we're used to it being full of. It's not full of the activity of other people. It's not full of the social activity. It's full on a much, much deeper level. So the inner solution is to have that. To realize, yes, I may be misunderstood by every single human being on this planet. And I still am whole and complete and divine and perfect and connected to the divine and ever so worthy of occupying my beautiful place on planet Earth. Then there's the outer solution. And the outer solution is with that person. Because again, as I said, connection is deeply important in our lives, as is inner connection, connection to God, connection to ourselves. Outer connection is also important. Doesn't mean you have to have a vibrant social life or a large social circle. But it just means the ability to connect with the universe in form. Whether it's humans, whether it's animals, whether it's trees, whatever it may be. But the ability actually to connect with the world around you. Because in that connection, we have another opportunity, another way of experiencing the divine, of experiencing that expansiveness of the divine. So, if this is a very good friend, as you said, I would reach out. Reach out to him or her and say, hey, I felt really really misunderstood. Maybe it was my language, maybe it was a semantic issue, maybe I caught you at a bad time. Can we try again? Because this point was really important to me. What I shared was really important. And I felt like it kind of hit against a wall there. And if it's really a friend, that friend is going to say, yeah, sure, absolutely. And who knows, maybe they'll even say, yeah, you're right. You know, I was in the middle that day of going through something myself. My mind wasn't there. I wasn't able to connect. Try me again. Who knows what they'll say? But give it another chance. Because sometimes the lack of understanding isn't as deep and difficult as we may think. It may actually simply be an issue of the way that you expressed yourself. The words you used, the examples you gave, the moment that you caught the other person to try to explain something. So give it another try. But at the same time, stay anchored in the awareness inside that you don't need someone else to understand in order to validate who you are, what you feel, what you think. Someone else understanding it does not make it real, does not make it valid. We share, yes, because it's lovely to share. But don't be looking for the validity in the sharing. Share because sharing is beautiful. But get that validity from within yourself. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening, beautiful rest of your day wherever you are. And I look so forward to seeing you all on Thursday, back for Satsang. And if you have questions that we didn't have time to take tonight, please feel free to put them here in the comments online, and our beautiful Seva team will get them and bring them in on Thursday.